A podcast? Did your radio show get canceled?
Fire. Low down and filthy, but the discipline is on point. Schooled myself, made my own dojo. A cold flow with the whole dose of soul. Maintain composure, even in theory. An anomaly, properties undiscernible to mere peasants. Use weapons that level entire area. Scarier than it.
All right, so our run of Star Wars characters continues here on the $1 Million Plan. I, of course, am Pete the Planner. I am not a Star Wars character, but our guest is today. We choose fake names, right? And so today, fake name Ray joins us now on the phone. Ray, welcome to the $1 Million Plan.
Hi, Pete. Thanks for having me.
Did you choose your fake name, or was that assigned to you by one of my producers?
I chose my fake name.
So you're a big fan of the Force Awakens, no?
I am a fan. I also have 3 boys that are even bigger fans than I am.
Me too. It's so good. Have you seen the new one? Have you seen Rogue One? Have you seen that movie?
Oh, yeah.
How do you feel
really
about
like that one.
Yeah, I do too. Different. You knew what was
Yeah,
going
it
to
was
happen.
kind of like, right. It was almost more like the old movies. I appreciated it.
Me too. Well, speaking of appreciated, I appreciate you being on the show today. What are we doing? Like, why are you on? What problems are we trying to solve?
Well, so recently I inherited some money from a family member that passed away.
Okay.
And overall, I'd say in my financial life, I'm more of a late bloomer as far as saving and getting ready for the future. I worked a series of jobs without any types of retirement offered. So now I'm at this point where I would like to start thinking about my future, but I also have this large chunk of money, which is $480,000.
Wow, that's a lot of money.
And
So not pesos. I mean, we're talking 480,000 American dollars.
American.
Is it free and clear? Do you have any taxes on that? Are you good to go?
Nope. It was from life insurance, so it's all, my understanding, free and clear.
All right. Can I ask you 1 million questions now?
Yes.
All right. So let's learn about your life. You are 39 years old. Who's in your household? Who's there? What do we got?
My husband, who's
Okay.
36,
Okay.
and then 3 boys, and one's 10, and then I have twins that are 8.
Oh, my. Now, what is your household income right now?
So I looked at our 2016 taxes, and I ended up taking a bunch of time off due to this death in the family. So our gross was around 134.
Okay, I think we got that on the screen. Let's pull that up. There we go.
Yeah.
About 134. Your net monthly income on that is about $8,400 a month. Now, what has that income provided you? I mean, so prior to getting $480,000 of an inheritance, this money had done something. It looks like it's certainly contributed to a pretty healthy retirement.
Yeah, I haven't. This money is just hanging out there in no man's land right now. I haven't invested it anywhere currently.
But what I'm going is ignore that money. We'll get there. We'll get to the 480.
Yeah, okay.
But so let's say it never happened. You still have over $290,000 set away for retirement, and has that just been a byproduct of you and your husband putting money away out of your 100? Okay.
Correct. Yeah.
And out of the $134,000, how does that split between the two of you in terms of income?
So this last year, my husband, his salary is pretty much set. He's around $84,000. I work as a variable employee,
Okay.
and so it just however much I work is how much I make. So this last year, my gross was 50, but I would say typically it's between 65 and 75.
Now, prior to getting the 480, what did you think about financially on a month-to-month basis? Were things comfortable? Were you stressed? Were you paranoid? Like, how did you deal with your financial life?
I would say comfortable,
Okay.
but not a lot of extra money for doing, I don't know, fun stuff. We like to travel and recreate, so we do that more on budget style, which
Sure.
is fine. I don't mind that.
Doesn't bother me as long as you're not going into debt over it. And from a debt standpoint, you've got $28,000 in student loans. You've got $3,000 at 0% on a credit card. And then you've got a couple houses, one you live in, one you rent out. So debt doesn't seem like it's a big issue for you.
No, but it's not an issue right now. But I guess as far as in terms of the future and being prepared for the future, both my husband and I have jobs that are relatively stressful. They're not jobs you'd want to take through until retirement if you don't have to.
Sure.
So our idea was to kind of be able to make a career change to something more mellow around the age of 50 or 55.
Now,
So where we're going...
Yeah. I guess where I'm going with
where
that
we're
too is, sorry about I keep walking on you.
No, you go ahead. Ask your question.
Yeah, no. So I'm guessing that 480 influences what you just said.
Exactly.
It has to. I mean, it would for me. It would for anybody.
Right.
So yeah, I guess the goal then becomes like, how much should it influence? And if I'm trying to jump ahead here for a second, we're trying to say, how can 480 accomplish that career goal and still provide the biggest, longest term impact on your life?
Yes, I would agree.
All right, so
That's the goal.
let me sniff through some other things here. You only have $8,000 in a savings account. It seems pretty low for everything you've got going on. Can you help me understand that a little bit?
Yeah. So we keep separate checking accounts, and we both contribute to a family account. So we have a savings account that has $8,000 in it. I try and keep my checking account at a minimum of $8,000 because if I have to take time off of work, I don't get paid time off or anything like that. So that's like my backup fund.
Okay.
So if I dip below $8,000 in my account, then I'm not stressed, but I just like to have at least $7,000 or $8,000.
How much are you contributing to that amount on a monthly basis, or is it more coming down as opposed to going up?
Yeah, it would be more going down.
Okay, so that's just a lot. Like, to your point, you save for lifestyle things, and then you consume the money for the lifestyle things. I don't feel like we have a spending issue. I mean, if we're being 100% transparent, which why wouldn't I be? You have $3,000 on a credit card at 0% interest. It's not the end of the world. I'd prefer you not to have it.
Yeah.
But I'd say you live pretty much within your means. I'm not going to say all the way within your means, but pretty much. Would you agree with that?
I would agree with that.
Okay. So now
I like to save. I prefer to save in advance if I'm going to purchase something.
Now the big distraction, $480,000. So was it someone on your side that passed away or someone on your husband's side that passed away?
Yeah, it was my side of the family.
And so in that situation, do you feel any connection to this idea that people, deal with of, well, they would have wanted me to do this with the money? Do you get caught up in that? Is that a thing for you?
No, I try to just keep more on the path of choosing wisely.
How does, I'm jumping around here, but you got the 10-year-old and the twins that are 8. College, is that on the radar? Is that important? What do you think?
Yeah, it is, and I would love to be able to fund their education if they choose to go to college, which I hope they do.
Right.
But they all have a 529 account in the state of Utah. We live in Colorado.
Okay.
And my oldest son actually has a small 529. When he was born, we lived in Colorado, moved to Utah, but now we're back in Colorado. But the Colorado accounts were not as efficient as the Utah 529 accounts.
And so then what's the balance of those accounts? Do you know?
Right now, my desktop is down, and so I think they all have, I don't know, not that much, maybe around 7,000 in the 8-year-old's accounts and 10 or 11 in the 10-year-old's accounts.
Okay. So here's the situation we find ourselves in. No matter what we do with the $480,000, it is likely to impact how much student loan, how much student aid your children get at college, right? Because you've got a giant asset that's not a retirement asset. So it's either going to be a burden somehow. I know that sounds crazy to say $480,000 is a burden, but from a college funding standpoint, it kind of is. Which is to say, it's likely you're going to be expected to pay for college outright. Now, they'll be able to get some aid, but you're not going to get any need-based aid. And so I think, not that you would have prior to the 480, but you just need to eliminate that altogether. Unless the 480
Yeah.
somehow disappears between now and then, you're going to be paying the full price for college.
Okay, right.
Good, bad, or otherwise, that's reality. So, 100. If you cut back your jobs to a level that is less stressful, what does that look like from an income standpoint? You're at 134 now. What would 2 different jobs look like?
That's a good question. I don't know if they'd end up being more of a seasonal job. Maybe like 75 to 100,000.
Okay, as a household.
Mm-hmm.
And I guess that from the timing of this too, your kids would pretty much be in or out of college when this income change occurs, right?
Yeah, and that's kind of the goal. Like, get them through those years of college and then be able to dial back a bit.
How long are your mortgages on your 2 properties?
They're both 30 years.
Okay.
And one we recently refinanced just because it had a mortgage insurance on it. So that saves us $200 a month not having that anymore.
Sure. Yeah, this situation is, people are hearing it and they're watching it on PeteThePlanner.tv and they're thinking, wow, must be nice. But I'm guessing you don't really feel that way.
No, not exactly.
Well, 1, you lost a loved one, and 2,
Yeah.
I mean, it's a little bit of a burden here. I'm not going to go like puffy, more money, more problems on you, but it does create some challenges because your natural reaction is you become paralyzed by the $480,000 and you don't want to do anything with it, right?
That's exactly where I am.
So what we need to do is to come up with a plan that is flexible and that moves you forward. Because if we keep doing what you're doing now, nothing positive will come from it. You'll have stability, but guess what? You already have stability. So it's just a complete waste.
Right.
Now, what's interesting is you're putting away a pretty good chunk of money a month right now. You're putting $2,100 and change away for retirement right now, combined with your $290,000 of long-term assets. That actually has your $1 million day. We already know that. So your $1 million day is September 29th, 2026. On September 29th, 2026,
Really?
you will be $1 million. And that has nothing to do with your $480,000, by the way.
Okay, good.
Okay, so ignore that. Now, the challenge with that, of course, let me double check that number. I'm feeling good. Yeah, 298. Yep, that's right. The challenge with this is that if you decide to step away from your job at 50, 51, 55, it affects the long term. We even have at age 67, your age 67, you'll have $5.4 million, and this does not include the $480,000 of inheritance. You'll have $12,600 of monthly income available to you at age 67, but after inflation, that's going to feel like $6,320 a month. So we know if nothing changed in your life, and by nothing, I mean you didn't stop contributing the $2,100 a month to retirement, your reality is what I just stated. You'd have over $6,000 a month of retirement income in today's dollars, and you'd have north of $5 million set aside, and we've still ignored your inheritance.
Okay.
Which is to say...
I find that hard to believe, but...
Well, I mean,
you did the math.
I did do the math. It is hard to believe, right? And number one, when someone says you're going to have $5.4 million 28 years from now, it feels like monopoly money, doesn't it?
It does, yeah.
It does feel like BS, and everyone should know
money.
that I use an 8% rate of return primarily because that's what the market has returned over time. And over the last 30 years, the market's returned 10.35, but I'm showing 8% when I do these illustrations. So Ray, what I'm saying is long-term, you're okay. I'm not worried about your long-term. Your short-term is a little weird, but it's hard to say it's weird when you have 480 grand under your mattress, you know?
Yeah.
So
right. It's nice to know it's there.
How do we enhance your midterm is the real question here. It's weird. Everyone's got a different problem on this show. Yours is not long-term. Yours is not short-term. But how do we use $480,000 to accomplish a period in your life that is probably 8 to 15 years away? That's what we're trying to do.
Yeah.
Let's think of it this way too. If that $480,000 went away tomorrow, what would be your financial problem in the next 30 years?
I would say just continuing to save money for retirement, but also continuing to have what I would consider a fun lifestyle.
Okay,
Being able
so balance is an
travel
issue.
and recreate. Yeah.
We live in Colorado. There's so much to do. Do you have a Subaru? I feel like 90% of people have a Subaru.
do.
You do? I totally nailed
It
that.
is.
Outback?
It's a 1993. No. It's
Forester.
a 93 Legacy wagon.
Legacy wagon.
It's my townie. It doesn't go on the highway.
Do you have Tivas?
No, I have some Chacos.
Man, I'm totally stereotyping people from Colorado. It's so fun to do. I'm sorry. Okay, so all right. So what you've just said to me is, if you didn't have the 480,000, your challenge would be balance, and your challenge would be trying to keep up your ability to save $2,100 a month for retirement.
Yeah.
And you didn't mention college, and I'm not judging you for that, but it's interesting that you didn't mention college. Is it because you had student loan debt? Is that why?
Yes. My parents paid for my first degree,
Okay.
which I have to say was a great life experience, but in the workforce, pretty much useless. And then I paid for my second bachelor's degree, which is now I'm an RN right now. So
Okay.
that's what my 20,000 is from.
Nice. And then did your husband have any student loan debt?
He has, his is 8,000
Okay. Oh, so yours is 20, his is 8.
with no degree to show for it, but
Yeah, that's always tough, right? But it's worked out all right.
yeah, it has.
All right, so let's think about this 480. To me, anytime you've got a non-retirement, because it's a non-retirement asset, it's not limited, meaning you can use it prior to 59 and a half. When we say non-qualified or non-retirement, it means there's really no restrictions to it. Hell, it's cash, right? It's just cash.
Right.
Where is it sitting, by the way? And what's the account number? No, I'm just kidding. Is it in the savings account, or is it like in a life insurance passbook account?
Through my employer, they use Fidelity Investments,
Okay.
and so I just dumped it all there. I can move it wherever I want to, whenever I want to. It's just sitting there doing nothing.
Do you have a financial advisor?
Well, I visited with a couple of them.
Yeah. How'd
I
that
don't
go?
have one. Well, they want me to put it all into their accounts,
Of course they do. I mean,
which didn't feel right to me. I mean, I him and hawed over it for a while, and I just ultimately didn't feel like it was right what they were telling me, so then nothing.
yeah, I mean, and to be fair, and I say this with all due respect, you may not know if what they said to do is right or not. It might be right.
Right.
You know, that's it's just different, right? Why it feels wrong is because you've never had $480,000 to hand anybody.
No.
Yeah, this is interesting, right? Because you're trying to get balance and peace by leveraging the $480,000 both now and 11 to 15 years from now. It's not a bad goal. It's just an unusual goal that we're going to have to get our brain around.
Yeah. And I had one thought is dumping a large chunk into each kid's 529 and just letting that sit and brew. I mean, I guess you could continue adding to their accounts. I don't know how much is enough to have in a 529 by the time a child's 18.
Well, there's a couple factors. Number one, that can make some sense from a growth standpoint because you're going to get tax-deferred growth in that account. But it depends, since you're contributing to a Utah account. You don't have Colorado accounts, right? You have Utah accounts.
You know, there's actually a new 529 account in Colorado that's a little bit better. Utah uses index funds, and they have good growth, and so I feel like it's just more efficient that way. But the 529 that I have currently in Colorado, it has a big expense ratio to it, so I didn't want to contribute any more to that one.
Look at you, looking at the expense ratios and the index funds. You know more than I do. No, you don't. But that's really good.
I've been learning.
I love it. Now, how about, are there any tax benefits to the Colorado plan? I'm looking right now online trying to find it. Do you know if there's any?
Well, since I haven't contributed to it in a long time, I don't know. But I think that there is, and I think that there's actually a relatively high maximum that you can contribute.
There's usually a high maximum on all of them. Here's what I would consider. Number one, I think it can make some sense to make annual Roth IRA deposits for both you and your husband. Okay. So I think the Roth, these are the things I should know. I think $5,500 is the max based on your age.
Yep.
So 5,500 for you, 5,500 for him. So that's 11,000 for 2016, 11,000 for 2017. And basically what you're trying to do is you're trying to move this money, this non-qualified money into a qualified fund, which still has some flexibility. So honestly, over the next near future, 10 years, I would move $11,000 a year over and get it with some better tax treatment.
Okay. And that's what I did. That's the way I did last year for 16. I just automatically took whatever the remainder that I could finish to get to 5,500 and put that in the account. And I haven't done it yet for this year, but I was just going to plop 5,500 in my IRA, my Roth.
Yeah, and it should go for both you and your husband so you can get that max. Now, is that $2,100 a month that you are putting away? Is any of that Roth money right now?
My husband puts away $300 into a Roth IRA a month.
Okay, so conceivably, then one of you, if not both of you, would have to consider increasing your retirement plan contributions at work.
We both put away, right, I make mine flexible, so right now I think it's at 34%. And I have a 7% match. He has his one account is at 11% with an 11% match, and then he has an additional, what does he have, 403 or 457? I think he does an additional 15% of that.
Okay, that's solid. I mean, so of that 480, I think getting 11,000 out a year is a good way to go. And for that matter, based on whatever the tax treatment of 529 contributions are in Colorado, you might want to consider doing a similar process there. If nothing else, just to get that money
process.
Going. Yeah. I mean, do you do your taxes yourself, or do you as an advisor do them?
I had an advisor last year do them, and I probably, because of all this, will have an advisor for this year.
That's a great tax question to ask them of like, what's an effective strategy? Because it's all very dependent on what the state tax laws are for 529s, which I just don't know them.
Yeah, so rather than putting just a giant lump sum of money in each account, maybe just a yearly contribution.
You could do that, but I would be it's a delicate balance. You want flexibility. Okay. You want somewhat of a modest contribution if you're going to dump in a lump sum to the kids' accounts, because to your point, if one of the three or two of the three don't go to college, you don't want to get left holding the bag with too much money in those accounts. It's a delicate mix. Now, do you have a health savings account?
We don't, because we have actually used our health insurance over the last few years.
Okay.
And so if we had the high deductible plan, we probably would be in debt right now.
Okay, that's fair. Self-awareness is important. So here's a question that I don't want to forget because we're running a little low on time.
Okay.
Do you have your legal documents taken care of? Because having that much money with no legal documents would keep me up at night.
I should get them taken care of. You're right.
That's a good way to say it, isn't it? Yeah, do that, please. I mean, and again, I know you're on this show to get some direction and some step-by-step stuff. So far, here's where we got your steps. We got max out Roth IRA contributions indefinitely. We've got get your will taken care of. Do you have life insurance in place as well?
I do. Mine's, I think, $500,000, and my husband has some through his employer plus an additional, and I'm not sure, but his must be around there.
Yeah, I mean, so I think what's fascinating about this, if you want to lessen the stress come 11 to 15 years from now, I think all you're going to need to do is to continue to figure out a way to contribute to retirement then compared to what you were doing now. And if you can do that, your retirement's fine. You're going to be de-stressed. But if I'm being honest with you, having 3 kids in college at the same time will be the most stressful moment of your financial life.
Yeah, I can't even imagine how much that's going to cost, actually.
And we could figure it out, but the point is it would seem like fake money. But I'm pretty low-key when it comes to financial stress at home. But when I think about my kids in college at the same time, it freaks me the hell out. You know?
Right, it's a lot. And they'll have to be getting braces in the next few years here, which I think is approximately $5,000 per child. But
see? Look at that. I mean, they're just costing money. I would tell you this. I think the big issue here is if you leave the 480 in just a giant cesspool of money, you will find reasons to do stupid crap with it. Mm-hmm. You just will. I mean, you'll say, look, let's go to Paris. Let's go to, I mean, not that Paris is a bad place, but you know what I mean? You'll just do dumb stuff.
It could happen.
I know, right? Take me, but I'll watch the kids, and then I'll go out on the town. So be careful there. Like, put some constraints in place. You know, even a financial advisor would be very helpful for you, because what they could help you do is to say, we're going to take $200,000 of the 480 and we're gonna invest it for the next 10 or 15 years. That's our time horizon. This is our risk tolerance, and this is the tax sensitivity. And that it would behoove you to do that. It really would. Don't think of 480 or nothing. Like, take 200 here, 100 there, and then just know over the next several years you're going to be popping 1,100 away or 11,000 away into those Roths. Okay,
so just leave that in more of a easy to access account.
That's kind of. Yeah, I mean, not too easy, because I want this to give you peace, but I don't want it to encourage stupid.
Right. I'm good with saving money. Like, I would like to pretend that I don't have this money, but I also would like it to grow at the same time.
Well, which is why you need to partition parts of it. I mean, partitioning 250 even. And that's tough. You're going to have to grow to trust a financial advisor. Take this conversation to the financial advisor and say, I want to make sure I'm doing the Roth. I got to make sure I do my will. And here's 250. What can you do for me? You have to put in artificial constraints here, or this will not be pretty 15 years from now. Okay.
What kind of advice do you have on picking a financial advisor?
It's tough. You're going to have to really jibe personality-wise. I would interview 2 to 3. I would look for the person that doesn't go for all the money, not to set up little fake tips and tests for them, but sort of lay out your situation the way you just laid it out to me, and they should only go for 250 as a chunk, because to go for 480 and invest 480 actually just doesn't even make any sense.
Right.
So just, you're kind of sniffing out that greed, and you're going to use a fee-based advisor, which would cost you approximately about $5,000 a year or so in fees. So just understand that.
Okay.
If they invest $250, it'll cost you $2,500 in fees, and that'll be out of pocket or out of those accounts. So just be cognizant of that.
Okay.
All right. Anything else? I got to wrap. Anything else from you?
No, I'll probably email you at some point with some more questions, though.
I hope so. I hope you do. Well, good luck. You can do it. Just keep the money away from yourself, and don't sit on it in cash, because you will regret it.
Okay. All right. Thank you so much for your time.
My pleasure, Ray. All right. That's another episode of The $1 Million Plan. If you want to be on the show, be on the show. Go to PeteThePlanner.com/podcast. Apply to be on. We will have you on. Will I always be dressed this nice? Probably not. Going to a funeral today. That got dark. Anyway, that's all we have for this week. Be on the show, and that way you can never worry about money again.
If you want to be on this podcast and have Pete fix your money life, then hit us up at PeteThePlanner.com/podcast. You heard me. PeteThePlanner.com/podcast. Log on.
This is for information purposes only. It's not the Swiss financial planning device. Consult a financial advisor.
Released from Everest, the fresh is fresh, and you can call me E.T. Word to John Tesh. Let me bless this harmonic presentation. It's amazing, so amazing. I'm the reason.
Salutations, I bring you love-tron greetings from a faraway land. I am the sole controller. Put the remote down and let me take control. You're now a part of my zone, so enjoy yourself. Love-tron can restore your health. I bring you greetings, salutations. How you doing? And is that how y'all say it?
The tinkling of the keys is an homage to the little star. I sojourn over poetic descriptions of sound and travel to my other world. Out of this world, spaceship on my arm took me home, fueled by the ink and the megabytes and the hypertext transfer protocol, stronger than the Skynet and the Terminator. I push faders into warp speed, glide with ease, creating a breeze they call a black hole. Event horizon, no rear view concerns. This I adjourn, and beats I burn. This I adjourn, and beats I burn. Salutations, I bring you love-tron greetings from a faraway land. I am the sole controller. Put the remote down and let me take control. You're now a part of my zone, so enjoy yourself. Love-tron can restore your health. I bring you greetings, salutations. How you doing? And is that how y'all say it?